excited to share some knowledge about CBD, some plant-based cooking, some CBD-infused mocktails, and any other Q&As about CBD or plant-based cooking, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have an awesome night tonight, and then after we do the class, kind of similar to last week, but we do have quite a few new faces today. We'll do the cooking series first. I'll show you how to infuse some CBD into some amazing meals. And then we'll have a Q&A. So any questions you have about CBD, how you can integrate them in your life, how to use them, you can just stick around. We'll do that right after the cooking series. And I believe we're going to have Megan come up, talk about that. So without further ado, welcome to Taco Night. So happy to have you here. And so happy to have our virtual friends on with us tonight. I look forward, I loved hearing from you guys last week, and I look forward to hearing from you making these recipes for Taco Night and see what you guys think. So let's just play a little get to know each other game. I think last week we got to know who's sweet and spicy and who likes it savory. So this week, I like to call it Taco Tuesday, but it is Wednesday. So we call it a fiesta night. So let's go around and tell me if you are a taco, nacho, burrito, like if you're going Mexican, what is your food of choice? And we'll start with you guys in the back over there.
Yep, my name is Varsha, and I'm definitely a taco girl.
Tacos.
I'm Dre, Varsha's other half. We're definitely taco people.
Perfect. Got tacos on the menu tonight.
I'm Cece. I eat tacos every meal of my life.
Perfect. Hopefully you will eat these tacos that I'm about to show you.
I will eat them happily.
Love it.
I'm Naomi. I also love tacos for their versatility, but I like a spinach enchilada when I go to Mexico.
Yum, yum, yum. What about you, Tony?
I am Tony. I'm a taco girl.
Taco? Tacos? Love it. Tacos are the lead right now. Love it. What about this table over here? Tacos, burrito. What's your favorite if you're going to a restaurant?
I like tacos.
Tacos?
I like tacos.
It's my mom for everybody. I can just point the camera right at her. What about you, Miss Joe?
I'm Joe, and I like it all.
Like it all?
Enchiladas and then tacos. That's my two.
Awesome.
I'm Debbie. I like it all.
Love it.
All Mexican.
And Debbie, I was going to say, you were out here from Atlanta. Debbie actually came in from Michigan, so you win traveling the furthest. What about you guys?
First, I eat a whole plate of
Nachos?
nachos, and I order a burrito.
Love it, love it, love it. I love nachos too. What about you, Megan? What do you love? Love it. So at home, our friends at home, just make sure in the comments, let us know what's your Mexican go-to. Do you love tacos, burritos, fajitas? Let us know. But without further ado, we are going to start for our nacho lovers. We are going to start with what I call the most amazing queso. It reminds me of that queso you would grow up. I would go to my friend's house, or my mom would make it. It would be in the crock pot, you know, that really cheesy stuff that's normally made from like the block cheese that's never refrigerated, that never expires. That block cheese. So it's a rendition of that, but of course we are going to plant power it up and not use anything that comes from a block and that has an expiration date. So it comes together hopefully with things that you have right in your fridge or pantry. And so Velveeta, it actually probably, no, there's probably some kind of milk fats in it. And not that I talk bad about any food, but if you could avoid eating Velveeta for the rest of your life, it probably might be, it's not a horrible idea, but, or at least if you have it in moderation. So what we're going to do with this queso, it actually starts with 2 cups, and I always keep frozen cauliflower right in my freezer at really all times. Cauliflower, broccoli. So what I did, since we're not actually in my kitchen, I microwaved this before I came. So this is just 2 cups of cauliflower. And then everybody that is here tonight, you are going to get an email and you get the recipe book. Did everybody get their recipe book who was here last week? Okay, good deal. So we start out with the cauliflower. Then we are going to use some cashews. Now what I did right before you guys arrived, I just put these cashews in a little bit of water. This helps soften them up and make them almost milky. When I make this at home, I just put some warm water, let them soak for 5 minutes. If you don't have a high-speed blender, you want to let them soak just a little while longer just so they can get super smooth. So just some soaked cashews. And then we are going to use some onion powder, garlic powder, what else do we have here? Salt and turmeric. And I have to give it to my girl Megan over there because she came over and helped prep yesterday and helped measure out all these amazing ingredients so we could do it just like the Food Network does. And then the next ingredient for you guys at home, so you can see, we talked about this last week about having miso paste on hand. Did anybody purchase it in the room, right? So, and my mom said she has it. Of course she does. So miso, if you haven't tried it before, it's a fermented organic soybean. I normally buy mine online because that's the easiest place I've been able to find it, and it's the most affordable. But it's going to give you that all-day cooked flavor. It reminds me almost of like a bouillon cube, but that doesn't have all those additives in it. It's just an organic soybean that is fermented. So you're going to add a few tablespoons of that, and that's kind of what's going to give us our cheese that all-day aged, you know, like cheese would have, and a nice little salty bite. So we'll add that in there. In miso, you will find if you don't have this in your pantry already, you will use it in so many different things, from sauces to soups to cheese. So we'll add our miso, and then we're going to use just some good old-fashioned yellow mustard. This is going to give us a little bit of a tang. And there's always, normally in like processed cheese, you'll see something called citric acid. So this is going to give us that acidic bite. Then we're going to use 1/3 cup of nutritional yeast. Who remembers what this is from last week? What does it taste like? Cheese, right? Parmesan cheese. So you'll add 1/3 cup of that. Nutritional yeast is one of those items that I store in this great container, but I buy in bulk all the time because anything cheesy, I just fill this container up and you will use it more often than not. So I recommend just buying it in bulk. Then we're going to use 2 cups of good old-fashioned water. And then our final, actually a splash of vinegar, apple cider vinegar. You could use white vinegar too, but I always seem to have apple cider on hand. And then the final ingredient, and you could use salsa or you could omit this, but just a good old-fashioned can of Rotel. This is what kind of reminds me of more of my childhood because that's what that big block was always mixed with, was Rotel. So all you'll do is put this on your blender. It's a high table, so hopefully you're still in the shop there. Always start your blender on low, just to make sure let things get incorporated, and then just crank it up. You'll let this go for about 20 to 30 seconds. It'll get really and voila. It gets really smooth for you, and I'll show you at home. Hold on, this table's really high. So can you see that cheesy goodness? It smells like cheese. Now what I would do at this point is I would just put it in a saucepan or crock pot. That's what I did for you guys today. And add in 1 more can of Rotel if you liked it to have some like chunky bites in it. Once again, that's completely optional. But I like to let it heat up for a little bit because it just thickens it. But of course you could eat it just right like this. Pour it on your nachos, but of course normally queso's got a little heat to it, so you could put it in a microwave safe dish or just throw it on your in a saute pan or a saucepan. And do you have some samples ready for everybody? And then there's Megan. So we'll bring out. We're going to serve these tonight on some organic corn tortilla chips. Those who know me well, I always love to buy things on sale. So the ones that had the lime were on sale this week, and I like the lime corn tortilla chips. So there's going to be a hint of lime. And then the queso, all I did was pour it into my crock pot, and I just turned it on about 4 hours before the class started, just to keep it warm. And I hope you guys enjoy. And this, if you counted, was loaded. So for one serving, has over 2 cups of veggies in it, and that's just mind-blowing. Hopefully you think it's super cheesy. And you can also use this on your nachos, of course on your tacos, and then you could even thin it out, and this would make a great like cheese soup, or add a little more tomatoes and make it like a tortilla soup. Completely versatile. You could absolutely do, so broccoli cheese soup is on our 4th class. I teach that. It's really good. This is 2. Yeah, so we're on, our first class was easy, affordable, and we started the chickpea and showed how to do that 3 ways, which I heard some people made. Would you like to share which recipe you made from last? Cookie dough truffles. So yeah. So you guys will have to let me know what you think of queso with no block cheese. Yes. So if you're going to use fresh cauliflower, which there's nothing, the key thing is, and the recipe will share about this, you need to have it so it's fork tender, so it can blend up. You wouldn't want to use it raw. You guys like that? Normally silence is a good sign. What does everybody else think?
I made this at home.
Yeah.
And I only used one thing of Rotel, but I think next time I'll do 2.
Yeah, just to give it a little.
It tasted to me almost, it reminded me of cheese fondue.
Yeah. You could totally, I don't know if you guys could hear like cheese fondue. You could totally entertain with that. Like have like a little fondue pot and all like the dippings. That would be an awesome idea. What do you guys think in the back, taco lovers? Incredible. Love it. Well, while I am shifting and getting the next, our tacos ready, I think, Kimberly, were you ready to come make a mocktail? Yeah. Awesome. And I don't know if you have the other ones made, or do you want to do it on the next?
I'm going to do it in this one, and then I'm going to serve this one.
Perfect. Okay, so come on up. So Kimberly here, for you guys at home, is actually, you're going to learn how to make a CBD-infused mocktail. I haven't actually got to try it yet, but it sounds absolutely delicious. But she's going to show you how easy that can be. Look at that. You know, should I have her over here, Kelly? So we can get... Awesome. And then I'll just do a little setup. So pretty. And then this camera is so they can see us at home. And then that camera, of course, yep, both of them.
Okay, I'm going to grab one more thing.
Okay.
The most important part.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I have one of those by me, too.
Okay, so normally this beverage would be half ginger beer and then half of our sprig, which would have 10 milligrams of CBD in it.
Okay.
So for this, I'm going to use a whole one so I can serve all you guys.
And when you have like 10 milligrams of CBD, is that, like, what will that do? Will you feel, what is the effect you could expect to feel?
I have Crohn's disease, and it really helps with when I eat something I'm not supposed to that I don't even know. Like something with seeds in it will cause me inflammation. And the CBD really helps take down the inflammation.
Awesome.
And just like, even in people that have just regular bloating, honestly, like I've noticed a huge difference. If you guys get, you know, you eat and then you get a bloated and you feel pregnant and
Only when you eat the block cheese. Or,
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. Eat more vegetables, but yeah.
actually this is supposed to go in here.
So will it give you though, like kind of like a little, like will you feel focused? Will you feel relaxed? How will?
Okay, so I can only relate it to my personal experience. And do you guys ever get jittery when you drink coffee? And like anxiety? So what I put in my coffee is the CBD water soluble, and it really, I call it a mood stabilizer. So like when I start getting jittery and anxiety, and I'm like noticing like when I'm handing the person their bill, you know, I put that in my coffee. It really mellows me out. It gives me that steady energy with that calm, alert. Actually, it does make me alert now that I'm thinking about it.
And you happily take their money. You're like, and I'll take that.
Yes.
So what is this drink again that we're making?
So this is the melon mojito. I'm adding mint and a couple of limes, and I break up the mint so you can really get that juice in there and taste the mint. And then I'm going to add a handful of melon. Well, probably 2 handfuls because I'm making the entire, I'm not just making a half of this and a half of the sprig. So I'm going to add 2 handfuls. And sometimes I add a little bit of water if the melon isn't that juicy, so I get more juice and flavor out of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're well-stocked kitchen up here.
So then I just mush that up. It takes a second. This is like.
Did you need any of these limes?
I think I could put maybe.
Did you put them in there?
Yeah. Well, the lime is a very important part. So if I didn't, I'm gonna add some more.
Awesome. Does anybody in here like mojitos? I feel like this is very mojito.
Friendly.
Yeah.
So these melons actually provided me a lot of juice. So no water for this round.
Awesome. And I wonder if you wanted to like spike, you think you could add like fresh ginger too if you wanted to add an additional?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love
think it's
ginger. I'm all about it. But yeah, you could definitely add way more ginger to it if you wanted to. But the ginger beer is already very gingery. It's a lot more gingery than ginger ale, like to relate it. So that gave me a lot of juice.
Yum. And then what else was in there? Oh, just the ginger beer.
So the ginger beer and then our melon sprig.
Yeah. And just to show you guys at home too, I have one of these little, but I'm doing a, what is this flavor? Citrus sprig, and these just already have the CBD infused in them, right?
Yep, it has 20 milligrams per can.
And so for our friends that are here, and you can get them at Seed and Bean, but can you purchase these in the store, or where does one?
You can purchase these in our Seed and Bean market.
Awesome.
Which is a store.
Yeah. Love it, love it.
And if you work downtown, you get a 10% discount, so that should be encouraged. Military, senior citizen, all get 10% discounts here, so.
Love it.
Yeah. So I'm going to dress these up for everybody.
Perfect. So then the
here.
mocktail is coming your guys' way. Awesome job, Kimberly. And then I'll set this over here for now. So how was everything now that you guys got to enjoy it? What did you think?
I did not put my finger in it.
You didn't what?
I didn't put my finger in it.
And just lick the bowl. Don't worry. They're earth-friendly, compostable. You know, just lick it up. Awesome, awesome. So we will move on to our next. Let's see. I've never had to have 2 things plugged in. There we go. Are we still doing okay, cameraman, with volume and everything? Want to make sure our friends at home can see this. And fun little thing, I'm about to release a video series, but did you know you could make your own hand sanitizer at home? Am I the last one to the party that knows that? This actually, you use an essential oil this one's from doTERRA called On Guard. And then I just used a splash of coconut oil. And then if you want to make sure it's really hand sanitizer, you can throw in some just regular good old fashioned alcohol. But then it doesn't dry your hands out or anything. And you smell like the holidays. So I feel like I've been making those and carrying them around with me everywhere.
For like hydrating. So
Yeah.
the alcohol you added a little bit of aloe.
Yeah, I saw, I just didn't have, or you know what, I have an aloe plant.
We tried to make some with COVID. I talked about everything's shut down.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing it, so we couldn't find alcohol or aloe. Everyone was making it.
Well, because I don't know if anybody bought any of the hand sanitizers that were out there, but some of them you're like, this smells like tequila. Yeah, I'm like, this reeks of tequila. Woo, that thing cranks up fast. Okay, so are we in the angle, Kelly, so everybody can see that camera angle? And we will get on to making our tacos. Okay, oh, we don't have the cocktails quite yet, but I think they'll get passed out when we'll get this going. Okay. So fun story, when I prep everything, so everything I make tonight just comes home with me, and then we prep in the kitchen, gloves and masks, and so I put my food processor, which I think I told you guys last week, just always go on Marketplace and look for a food processor if you don't have one. Well, my good old-fashioned food processor that I had from Marketplace, it broke in the dishwasher. So my friend Megan here, thank goodness, had one because I couldn't find any. There's one on Marketplace I'm buying, but I couldn't pick it up till tomorrow morning. And I refused to go buy a new one when I could save $200. So she is friendly enough to let me use her food processor. So if it acts like I've never used this before, it's because I've never used this one. But this taco meat, I think, is going to blow your mind. It is truly, it reminds me of my childhood and how you would have, like what you would have at your friend's house or the kind of tacos your mom would make. Like it tastes just like that. It does not taste like you're eating any kind of healthy tacos. So what it's going to start with, and you'll see me, I'm just cutting these carrots. Nothing is more affordable than a big organic bag. I think you can buy a 3-pound bag of carrots and get them delivered, and I believe they're like $2.99. I just got these at Whole Foods. So all I'm going to do is just chop off the ends, and I keep those because I give them as snacks to my dog or throw them into soups because they'll help flavor your soup when you're making stocks. So I'm just going to cut these ends really quick. Sorry that my camera angle there is a little tight. And then we will get this started. So I strategically put in my walnuts, and walnuts is once again one of those items I buy in bulk because you can make the best meat, and I love tossing these in just a dab of oil and spices for the holiday and make spice nuts. So I always buy those in bulk. When you're making any kind of meat though, don't buy the whole walnuts, buy the pieces. They're cheaper, you're gonna crumble them up anyway. And we're gonna hope that I know how to use this food processor correctly. So you're just gonna dump in walnuts. Megan, if it doesn't work, I'll just have you come up and show me. Oh, it worked. Okay. So you're gonna dump in 2 cups, or I think it's 2.5 cups of walnuts. And you wanna do this when you're making it at home. Do the walnuts on the bottom so then when we dump it in, the walnuts will be on top and less likely to burn. Ooh. Wow. This is a powerful food processor. Woo! Okay. So get that in. And then we're gonna add our garlic. Once again, I always used to buy fresh garlic, but then when I discovered these bags, it really makes it quite easy. So I just put in some cloves of garlic, and then let's throw in our carrots. And that was just 3 medium-sized carrots. Let's get these in. Has anybody ever made this kind of meat before? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you to try this. Especially our friends at home. Look at this. Oh. Yes. And you use, I should have mentioned too, when you're putting your food processor together, I was afraid to take the lid off that I wasn't gonna be able to get it back on because it's not mine. Use the shred blade, and that's the blade that just has the little holes that looks like a box grater or looks like what you would shred cheese with. Use that blade. And that's exactly what you'll... And the final ingredient is just, I might have to make these a little smaller, is just some cauliflower. So if you're taking note on this, this has cauliflower, carrots, and walnuts. Super good for you. Huh? And this is raw cauliflower. And it's a half a head. When I make this for my family, I always double this recipe. But a half a head, why I built the recipe around a half a head, is because it's what fits in a portion of a food processor. I've tried to double it, it doesn't work. Clearly I broke my food processor, it doesn't work. And one more. Almost there. This thing is just incredibly powerful, way more power than mine. Okay. So now that you have the mixture in, what you'll do at home, this thing is amazing by the way, but I'm sure you can just use a saute pan at home. I'm gonna put in my spices. So I'm gonna use some fennel seed and cumin seed. If you don't have those and you really do wanna have a more plant-based lifestyle, I do recommend buying those. I buy them in bulk. It makes anything you make, whether you're gonna make taco meat, mushrooms, it just makes them taste meatier. So when you think cumin, you definitely think Mexican food. When you think fennel, it's normally what's in sausage. So it's gonna give you that really meaty, earthy taste. Let me turn this up. And this bad boy, I can't tell, it is hot. So we're gonna let those toast. If you were doing this at home, you'll just allow them to toast for probably 30 to 45 seconds. You'll start to smell them. And then let's hope I can figure out how to get this out. There we go. And let me show you at home what this looks like, this mixture. See how it's perfectly grated? So, and then once we dump it, I want this top to, once we dump it out, you'll notice all the nuts then are at the top, so we can let the carrots and the cauliflower start to cook. Let me just grab this blade out of here. Whew. Thank goodness I was able to do it with a new food. It's scary not using your own stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do at this point, you just kind of let it start sauteing. And there, no oils at all. Thank you for noticing that, because it's, at first when I made this, I'm like, oh, if I don't use oil, it's gonna burn. It doesn't. And oil is one of those things that I love to teach how ways to not have to use it, because if you don't use it, it's gonna save you money, first of all, first and foremost. And second of all, we just, as a culture, seem to put oil on everything. And oil is, you know, just a tablespoon if you look at the calorie count, and then go for a walk and see how long it takes you to burn that. And I know some people say it's really good fat, but in moderation, and we eat a lot of oil in an American diet. So I try to, when I do my cooking, cook without it. Not only does it save me money, it saves me calories. And there's a lot of doctors, if you have anything with health issues, especially cardiovascular, that will tell you to really try to avoid heavy oiled food and fatty foods. Okay, let me get this out of here so I can show you. Thank you again, Megan, for letting me use your food processor. Mm-hmm. While this starts sauteing, the final step is right here. All you're gonna do is add 2 cups of water, and I am gonna use a good old-fashioned taco seasoning pack. This brand doesn't have anything in it that I wouldn't be afraid to put in my food. Whole Foods also has an organic one that I think is pretty tasty, and it's just spices. If you want to do your own taco spice blend, awesome, do it. But this is a really easy shortcut. So for that mixture, you would use 2 of these taco seasoning blends. And I think it comes hot as well, but for this, just I didn't know everybody's spice level. So you'll use 2 of them, and then just 2 cups of water. Follow the directions though. So this is the brand I chose. Let me make sure you guys can see that at home. And I'm giving you the one that, I think it's called Simply Organic. But make sure before you add any salt Get to the, let it saute with these spices because some of these can already have quite a bit of salt in them and you won't need any additional salt. So you'll just let this start sauteing and coming together. And then while it's going, while you're doing this at home, what I want you to do is make your dirty rice. Tonight you're gonna get the taco meat, dirty rice, and you're gonna get a cabbage slaw. In your recipe book will be how you'll make the cabbage slaw. It's super easy. It's just shredded cabbage, lime, agave, and a little bit of salt, and it is so, so delicious. But let me show you really quick how to make the rice, and then I think, Megan, is it all coming together over there? Yay, I'm almost ready. I'm almost there. So this is how, so we already have the cauliflower and the carrots, right? So in our dirty rice, we're gonna get even more vegetables. And here is how. So what I recommend is every Sunday, I take my good old-fashioned rice cooker that I believe is $18. Actually, my friend cameraman Kelly bought me mine. And I just make a pot of rice. My pot of rice, this is always brown rice. I just organic brown rice. You can even get organic brown rice at the dollar store. It's so accessible. In there, though, to make it yellow, right, so it looks like Mexican rice, I add onion powder, garlic powder, turmeric, and everything I put in here is going to be in your recipe book. So I make a portion of that rice because it's the quickest for meals, for snacks, and to make things like this. So you'll dump in your rice. And then you're gonna add in a bag, I had microwaved this earlier, of cauliflower rice. You could absolutely make your own, but what I love to do whenever I'm having any kind of starch, if I can hide a vegetable in, I'm going to. So cauliflower rice in with the yellow rice. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Super easy way to hide your veggies. You won't even know it's there. But your body will thank you, and you'll get fuller faster because cauliflower is so nutrient dense. And then I love to add just a can of organic black beans. I leave the liquid in there because that's what's going to act as our oil, and it's going to make our rice kind of creamy and umptious. And then I'm going to use one more can of Rotel. You could also use just some salsa, or any kind of like tomatoes with chilies. But I just love I love the flavor of Rotel in this. And then the last thing or the two last things I add some green sliced olives because we love that briny, salty taste in our family. If you don't like olives, just leave them out. And the final ingredient, just some cilantro. Stir it together, and I think some of you guys, you guys already all have it. What do you guys think?
Very good. Delicious.
What do you think of the meat texture and everything? Oh, you haven't done it yet? So for you guys at home, so this is what your rice is going to end up looking like. It's so beautiful. It's delicious. And from this, you could add whatever you would like. You can go Mexican. You don't have to go Mexican. But I just love the addition of the cauliflower. I mean, you're getting whole grains, cauliflower, beans, everything that's good for you. It's quiet in here because everybody's eating. What do you guys think in the back? Taco lovers. And those are served, Joe, did you get your, yeah, on a whole wheat tortilla. I personally, I love a good corn tortilla, but I discovered those whole wheat tortillas. They're organic. They're $3.99 a pack from Whole Foods, and I'm obsessed. They're so good. I just think they're delicious. So I wanted to share those with you. You, of course, could use corn tortillas. You could use a hard shell tortilla. We're not a hard shell family. So guys, what do you guys think? Tacos? Is this something that, is this something that Rose would fall for tacos? No? Too much? Huh? Oh, got it. We'll get Rose. Rose is their cute 10-year-old daughter she knows what she likes. And doesn't like, I should say. And doesn't like. So do you guys have any questions? Love it. Do you think, was that like easy enough that you think you would just make that at home? Right? And what I'll do, this is just an electric skillet. So between you and I and everybody who's watching, in my spare time, I always have on the Food Network because I'm inspired. I love to create plant-based dishes. But I also watch QVC and because I love the art of how they can sell everything's amazing. And so this was on, and I'm like, I have to have that. I absolutely have to have that. They'll make my cooking classes so much easier. And so I do what I do best. I looked at it, and they'd had good reviews, and then I went to Amazon to see if it, what's the better deal. And QVC was the way better deal. So I bought it, and it's pretty awesome. I made the tacos. We did it in this just to make sure, so I could still estimate the cook time. But yeah, if you watched it on, it's Dash, D-A-S-H. On QVC, it's actually under Jeffrey Sakarian's brand, but it's the Dash brand. I wanted to read the honest reviews, but I like it so far. I've only used it 3 times, but it is enormous. But you could really serve some serious food in this. But it made it so much easier, like when you're doing cooking classes and you don't have a stove, and I bought like an electric, cooktop. This is way easier, but it's hot. It throws out some serious heat. But that meat, so when you are making this at home, the meat will come together really in about 10 minutes, and that's why I normally will make the rice. Oh yeah, what did you guys think of the slaw? So one of my favorite things to do with tacos, instead of putting like iceberg lettuce, because nothing against iceberg, but if I can get more nutrition in, cabbage is so nutrient dense. It's one of those veggies, every time I shop, I always buy a head of cabbage because it lasts. And it's great to saute, and you could throw it in anything. You could throw it in the rice, tacos, you could throw it in pasta. It's just absolutely delicious. And it's good for you. So the final, does anybody else have any questions? You good? Happy? Satisfied? Do you think your little girl, would Harmony eat that?
That Harmony thinks she would normally eat,
Yeah.
but in a different form. So this is great to be able to, blend
Yeah, take carrots.
different.
The only thing I just noticed, because I've only used my food processor, if you have a smaller food processor, so tip at home, I would do the nuts and the garlic first, then I would do the carrots and the cauliflower first and get those in the saute pan. You don't want the nuts to get gummy. Like, you want them to have enough texture. And that thing was so powerful. So if you do have a smaller bowl, just break it in half. It all goes into the same pot. So the final, and once again, you will get the recipe for that slaw, but it's as simple as you could either buy a bag of freshly cut slaw, or I always have a head, shave it up, throw in your cilantro, lime, agave, and some salt, and bada bing, bada boom. And Mr. Cameraman, Kelly over here, he actually got to try some this afternoon and was, I don't know if he can hear me right now. I think he can hear me. he was, I think, what did you say? You're like, there is no way that this is vegetables. Or no, this is no way this is good for you. There is no way. So here, let me bring these over here so you guys can see. So the final thing on our Mexican fiesta. So with CBD, a lot of foods, if you are going to infuse your foods, you want to use things that you're not cooking. So if I was going to use CBD in the past meals, I would have put it in the slaw. I wouldn't wanted to put it in the mixture where I'm already cooking. But a great way where I put CBD is in desserts. It's a reason to have dessert. It's a reason to calm down. Like, there's all kinds of good reasons why you could put this in your dessert. So what we're going to make tonight are my handmade freezer chocolates. They're so good. We keep them in the freezer at all times. Actually, I said that, and Megan came to my house yesterday to cook and opened my freezer to see if they were there. Because I always have these desserts, because they're just a great little bite. They come together in just moments. So I'm just going to spray my hands, get any kind of that garlic off. Oh, what did you guys think of the mocktail, too? Did you guys like that? It looks delicious. Right? We should do this every night. I'll just come, cook for you. Okay, right? You're like, okay. Okay, so the final recipe, I just want to make sure I read off my right measurements to you. So we are going to start, you can tell, I use cocoa powder a lot. I use it clearly to make these handmade chocolates. I use them, I'll take a little bit of cashew yogurt, vanilla, and cocoa powder and make like a quick, almost like pudding. It's like faux ice cream. Or I'll take frozen bananas, cocoa powder, make chocolate ice cream. So I buy mine in bulk. If you don't use a lot of cocoa powder yet, don't buy the 5-pound bag. But I use so much of this. So this is a brand I love. You can see it. I just get this right off of Amazon. And that's what we're going to start with. So this is real cacao powder, and we're going to use 1 cup of it. There we go. Put that into the bowl. True story, I hide my measuring cups in here, but then I always think like somebody took them from me. I'm like, who took the measuring cup? And I'm like, oh, it's me. Okay, so we're going to do 1 cup of cacao powder. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of cacao nibs. And just to give you an idea, the nibs are actually from, what does it say? From the cocoa beans. So it's going to give you that chocolatey flavor. They're super good for you, but it doesn't have any added sugar. It's just a cacao nib, just broken up. So we're going to throw those into our mixture. Once again, I buy these in bulk because I use them a lot, and I teach cooking classes. If you're, start with a smaller one. I think this comes in a 16 ounce. Then we're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla. For those who don't know, on most caps, this is a teaspoon, so you don't have to get a teaspoon dirty. And then we're going to do a teaspoon of almond extract. What I also, another gal from my cooking classes loves using essential oils, food grade essential oils. She added peppermint in here and said it was like mind-blowingly good, just 1 to 2 drops. So if you do that, just make sure it is food grade. And this is some coconut oil. Key thing at home, or when you're making this, coconut oil is generally solid, so make sure you get it in its liquid form. The fastest way to do that, put it in a microwave-safe dish, microwave it for 12 to 20 seconds, and it will become liquid. This is one area, because it is chocolate, I am using some fat, but you only eat these in like 1 ounce portion, so it's worth it. Then we're going to add some real maple syrup. You can also use agave, you can use honey. I just love the earthiness and the richness of maple. And then we're going to add you can use any nut or seed butter you like. We talked about this last week. When you are choosing any kind of nut or seed butter, do yourself a favor, read the label. If there's anything really other than peanuts in it and salt, put it down. Even if it says it's natural and it's good for you and it's got all these things on the front, ignore that. Read it on the back. If it says there's added oils, nuts there's plenty of fat in nuts. You don't need any added oils. So when they add oils, they actually take away nuts and the oils are the filler. So in this peanut butter right from Whole Foods, I think it's $4.99. So it's no more expensive than the other stuff. So what we're going to use here, just to make sure, is just a 1/2 cup of some nut butter. You could easily use sunflower butter, almond, cashew, whatever is your choice. We just happen to always have peanut butter in our house, so it's the easiest thing. So this is kind of what it will look like at home. I use, instead of a whisk, I like a fork, because I always find whisks get really gunky, and then I don't like to clean them. So I use a fork that normally people I think would use for meat. I make chocolate with it. So you're going to give it a good whisk. For some reason, if your arms are tired, you can get out a little hand mixer. And you will just want to mix this until it's combined. And the way you can tell is just making sure the peanut butter is kind of throughout. And just take a little teaspoon and try it. You can tell if there's any chunks left. If you do have a peanut butter that's a little drier, what I recommend is measure out the 1/2 cup, put it in a microwave-safe dish, and add like a splash of water and let it thin out a little bit, just so you can blend it well in here. Because some of the really good peanut butters I've noticed are just a bit drier. So when it comes together, it comes that quickly. Look at what that looks like. Holy heavens. And do we have the chocolates ready so everybody can try them? So from this point, let me get these out so you can see. All you would do is use a 1 tablespoon measure and scoop it out. And I put them in muffin tins, not lined. No, they'll pop right out. But if you were doing them for the holidays, maybe you want to do them in a liner just so they're extra cute. But you'll do a heaping tablespoon in each. This makes, oh, hold on, I forgot, CBD. So if you're making this at home, this makes 20 batches. So if I was gonna microdose this, which I'm going to, I would use 2.5 squirts or droppers of this. There is a measurement, Katie, right, that they can have access to from you or on your website so they can learn how to, oh, and the dosing is on every bottle. So you would just use 2.5 in here, just whisk that in. And this is one, I believe, that you can get here that will infuse. It's not water-based, right?
Yeah, that's our oil, so it's for oil-based recipes. And we
Okay.
have a new water soluble for water-based recipes.
Awesome. So you would add that in, and then you would use your 1 tablespoon scoop, put them right in a muffin tin, and then pop them in the freezer. I would say is 30 minutes, and they'll be set. I took these out today at 3:30 when I drove down here and just popped them in a cooler. If you don't keep them in the freezer, and this is for everybody, they will melt because it's just cocoa butter and coconut oil. So that's the only thing that keeps it together. So what do you guys think? Chocolate.
I'm gonna now have this in my freezer all the time.
They should, and when you start, once you have this method, which is what I like to teach, just teach them at, you can, mix flavors. I even wanted to start adding like an orange essential oil just to kind of play, but the peppermint, yeah. So you could go so many places with this. If you wanted to, I love that idea, when you put them in the muffin tins, and you can just use a sheet tray. I just like the muffin tins because it kind of keeps it in a shape, but you could sprinkle in a little dry coconut if you wanted to on top. Make a platter of these for the holidays, put them in your freezer, and when everyone's done eating, bring it out. Everybody could have one because it's so rich and delicious that you don't feel like you need to eat a whole pie. What do you guys think? Yes? And if you really were going fiesta, one of the things I'd add too, a little like chipotle powder, you could go that way too. Make a little chipotle in chocolate. So all the chocolates are gone. At home, you'll have to make these and let us know how they are. I have a feeling you will love them. And as soon as you pop them out of your muffin tins, I just store mine in a zip top bag, put them in, or a reusable container, keep them in the freezer. They'll last, I would love to say they'll last in your freezer up to a year, but you will eat them by then. I always recommend too, when I make this, double the batch. It doesn't hurt anybody because then you have them in there. And if you're already dirtying the bowl, and it just comes together in one bowl, and then you'll pop them out, and they are good to go. So does anybody have any questions? I almost just stuck the spoon in and just started eating. Anybody have any questions about the class, recipes? I know we had surprise visitors here for our virtual friends at home that were walking by and were like, this is exactly where we wanted to go. They didn't even know we had a class going on. So with that being said, Megan, if you wanted, does anybody have some questions? And Megan is a fountain of knowledge. Last week we had Colin, but if you have any questions about CBD and how you can use it, why you should use it, and how you could get it into more of your foods or drinks, Megan is here to answer all of our questions. Does anybody have any questions? I think you guys did, didn't you? What? Have some questions for...
We were already hitting her up for questions.
Oh, well, what were some of them, just so everybody else could hear? Well, not the personal ones.
Yeah.
No, just trying to learn a little bit more about it because I really don't know that much about it.
So what would be like a reason, Megan, people would ideally want to, like if they wanted to start CBD, what could CBD help them with in their daily life?
So it can help with like stress.
And you might have to talk just a little louder so they can hear. You don't
and-
have to talk into my shirt, but
Okay.
just so they can
I'm
hear.
like,
So it might help with like stress relief, pain management issues, things like that.
Okay.
It can help a lot with like anxiety or maybe just a stressful day at work or anything like that too.
Stress, anxiety, pain. Does anybody have any of those things ever? No, right? Who would ever have that? Exactly, exactly. Yeah. You know, I had heard from a gal that uses CBD daily. It tremendously was helping her with her anxiety. Today I was on a totally separate, unrelated call to this cooking class, but she literally swears that CBD changed her life for the better, just in terms of being able to mellow out and calm down. And she had all,
Of course.
yeah.
And then some people don't know what CBD is, and CBD is just a natural cannabinoid that lives inside of our body. Just sometimes
Yes.
we don't produce enough of it. So
Did you hear that word, cannabinoid?
Yes.
Cannabinoid. And she was saying, because actually, a lot of times we don't produce enough cannabinoids, right?
Cannabinoids.
Cannabinoids.
Yes, it took me a while too to get that down. Yeah. And then we have an endocannabinoid system that lives inside of us, and we have CB1 and CB2 receptors that are spread throughout our body. So that's what CBD is going to kind of bounce off of those receptors inside of us too.
Okay, so we have receptors inside of us. And, okay, so you could almost be like CBD deficient.
Yes, in a way, yeah. That's how I like to say it. And then what we do is put the cannabinoids back into the system to put your body out of homeostasis, and it's basically just balancing out the whole body that way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Does anybody have any questions? I know last time we were talking about parenting and babies and how we could, actually, did you have any, they were talking about teething last time. Have you
Yes.
ever, what would you
So,
recommend for teething?
I wouldn't recommend giving a baby CBD just because their endocannabinoid system isn't fully developed yet. So you don't really know what they're lacking, what they're not lacking. If you were ever going to think about giving a child CBD, I would consult the doctor before use.
Yeah, and I actually, at 5 a.m. at my gym, there is a dentist there, and I was asking her about it, and she said there's actually a product that is CBD based that you could talk to your dentist about. She said they've had great results with it for like gummy, so I wanted to share that with you, that there is, she was very like, oh yeah, she's like, we prescribe that. She said they've had a lot of parents that haven't wanted to maybe be giving so much Tylenol or don't want to put like scotch on their babies. So yeah, there is, I forget if it was a paste or some kind of, there was something she had talked about. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Megan actually has had her own CBD store, like, so she knows,
Yes.
you know a lot.
And I suffer with Crohn's disease too, just like Kimberly does.
Okay.
I discovered CBD about 3 years ago, and I have to say that it's been very life-changing for me, physically and mentally.
Love that.
With suffering with something like that, you're in the hospital a lot of the time. You can't keep weight on. It's hard to eat and everything like that. So with taking CBD, I'm able to eat. I'm able to keep my weight on and just live a healthy, normal life now.
Love that. So if you know anybody with Crohn's disease, you're the second person that's talked about.
That was last time
Yeah.
we chatted, my brother has Crohn's disease. So.
Got it.
And then with having something like that, even with a lot of pain, CBD hits the same pain receptor as if you're taking an ibuprofen, Tylenol, or a heavy pharmaceutical painkiller. It's going to hit that same receptor. So that's what gives you relief while taking it.
That's good to know.
I think, refresh my memory, you said that helps with the flare-ups?
Yes, it helps with all the inflammation. Basically, having something like that, it affects everything in your body, unfortunately, and everything just gets inflamed. So instead of taking ibuprofen and Tylenol on the daily, I take CBD, so it just helps me physically and mentally throughout that day too.
What's interesting, well, not interesting, but what gets me on that is, with that disease, you're not able to really put on weight,
Yes.
right? So,
And
like, the
this
amount of
past year,
inflammation in your body for like no weight on you.
yes. So I was maybe 98 pounds about a year and a half ago. Then I discovered CBD and started taking it on the daily. I don't know what happened. It might have just balanced out my whole body, and it just went into a homeostasis. But I was able to eat. I was able to keep everything down. I was able to gain weight. I was able to keep that good weight on too, and I was able to have an appetite on top of that. So when I said it was just my body did a complete 180 while taking CBD, that's why I'm just so passionate about it now, is because it was just very life-changing for me. My regimen is.
And just so they could hear you at home, she was asking what would a daily regimen look like.
So for me, yeah, so I do have like a little process like where I go through. So I take water soluble. So water soluble is more bioavailable to the body. That one kicks in about 5 to 7 minutes instead of taking about 30 to 35 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to get all the way into your system that way. So it's the fastest acting one that you could take. So I take that in the morning.
And do you just put that under your tongue, or do you mix it with
So
water, or what do you do?
soluble you could drink in water, juice, tea, coffee, whatever you're drinking at the time, and take it back. And then maybe mid-afternoon or later afternoon, I'll take an oil base, and that helps me with my pain. And then at night, I take a gummy, just because the gummy metabolizes throughout the whole night.
Oh.
So it helps me with sleeping purposes. You can take too much. The worst that's going to happen, you're going to sleep great that night. It makes you a little tired if you do take a little bit too much, but it's nothing where it's going to harm you or affect you that way.
That's what I had heard from a lot of people talking about, that they take it just to sleep. But then you don't wake up feeling groggy in the morning.
Yes. Yeah. You will not. With heavy pharma, you go up and up and up on dosings once it stops to work. But as soon as you balance out your endocannabinoid system, you can actually go down and down and down. As long as it's balanced out and you keep that cannabinoid into the system, it's going to keep you out of homeostasis that way.
Any other questions? It's good questions.
Yeah. And then I do use the Pure Native water soluble. That's going to be our product spotlight next month. And then you get 10% off for the product spotlight. But that's one of the ones that I use on the daily is the water soluble, just because it's extremely fast acting.
And I think everybody here, you guys got all a little special gift for anything that's at the market here. And then for our friends at home, I know we're going to email that to you, because you can buy anything online, right?
Yeah, so everybody has a $10 off of the coupon in person. That expires tonight, but then on Friday I'm emailing 10% off, and that could be for coffee, breakfast, dinner, CBD.
Yeah.
But that will be emailed on Friday.
How many people have eaten down here before? Nope, like hello, look at this. So if you come down, I'll tell you what to get. You can still be totally plant-based if you choose. They're avocado toast, delicious. If you want to be a little naughty, they have these things called avocado fries, but they air fry them. So it's not like they're entrenched in oil. And they come with a spicy hummus dip. So good. And then they even have like a shredded potato hash. That's also like yum. And when I've been down here, I just say I'm plant-based. Please don't like throw any kind of butter or anything in anything. And they've been great. Like they have really good food down here. So I highly recommend. And if you're getting a 10% coupon, hello.
And then we just started doing dinner too.
Oh, yeah.
So we just launched a new dinner menu that's going to be on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays too.
Awesome.
And that's delicious as well.
Yeah. So if you guys heard that, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for dinner. And
We do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but we kind of jazzed it up in a way where we just have like a special dinner on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And it's like a top secret menu. I'm only playing you. You guys can have it, yeah.
And of course, Wednesdays, they're not having dinner because we'll have 2 more classes left after this. So first one, of course, was easy, affordable, approachable. Tonight, fiesta or taco night. And then next week, we're going to do barbecue. And then the following week is everything cheese. So we'll do a whole cheese rendition. So if you know anybody, we have been doing our best to keep everybody, socially, like, do you feel safe in here? We wanted to make sure everybody felt comfortable. But yeah, if you know a few more people that would love to come, we'd love to have them. Barbecue night is very, you guys were at barbecue night last time, weren't you? Was it delicious? Yeah. If you don't like barbecue, it wouldn't be your class. But actually, we make some good sides. But it was probably my busiest class. It's super good. It's fun to make. And I'm going to show you some ingredients that you probably haven't tried yet that are really awesome. So any other questions for Megan or I? Food? Everybody full? Satisfied? Right? Awesome. Well, with that being said, thank you so much. If you guys took pictures, shame on me, I forgot to say. Please tag Seed and Bean Market or Cooking with Carrie P, or send them to me if you don't know how to do it. I would love to see what you guys are cooking in your kitchens and just hear from you guys, see what you're loving. So with that being said, thank you, Seed and Bean, for hosting again, and we will see you guys next week.
Coming out.
And thank you guys at home. We will talk soon.